Hi everyone, my name is Gigi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about oversharing, the fear of failure, and taking accountability. The topics in today's video can be quite difficult for a lot of people. A lot of people can find it quite intimidating to listen to and quite overwhelming, mainly because they might not realize how much they struggle with these topics. So just keep that in mind throughout this video, that everything that I'm going to say is truly from a place of love, and it's things that helped me when I was in my journey towards a more positive mindset. Oversharing is a really common issue with a lot of people. It's so easy, especially these days with having text messages and phone calls, to overshare every little aspect of your life. I massively struggled with this because I thought every time a small inconvenience happened to me that it was a massive thing that needed to be shared with everyone I knew. So I would text multiple group chats, all of my different friends. I might even phone up my mom and be like, hey, this happened. Here's something to keep in mind, and that I had to keep reminding myself when I was going to overshare. The most important person to you is you. Now, some people might disagree with me and say, no, it's my daughter or it's my parents. But the reality is, to keep yourself alive, to keep yourself functioning, you have to be the most important person. And we will always, in most cases, put ourselves first. That means situations that happen to you, you might believe is a massive thing, but when you're telling that to someone and they're listening to you, the majority of the time, they're not seeing as big of an importance as it is to you. Now, this links in with my previous video that I made before this on having a negative mindset, but a lot of the time when you are a very negative person and you have all these small inconveniences happen to you, you view them as being a lot of a bigger inconvenience to you. So something like it raining when it wasn't meant to rain might be a massive inconvenience to you, but in reality it's something so small out of your entire day. But because you have this negative outlook on life, it is something so much bigger than it needs to be. But because you're also an oversharer, you feel the need to tell every single person you know about your inconvenience. Now, I'm not saying sharing is a bad thing to do. It is actually really important that you share your feelings, you share your thoughts with the people around you and with people who you trust, because that's how us humans communicate with each other. That's how we bond with each other. But what I'm saying is feeling like you have to share every single part of your life with the people who you trust, because you almost feel uncomfortable if you don't. If you feel yourself constantly grabbing your phone as soon as something inconvenient happens to you or something bad happens to you, that's where the problem lies. Your first thought when something bad happens to you should not be, hey, let me tell every single person I know. It should be, let me problem solve this, let me understand this and process this, and then if I feel that I need to talk to someone, then I will. What I found best works for me is living a more private life, and that means not constantly picking up my phone every time something happens to me. If something bad happens to me or a slight inconvenience, I like to just brush it off. I just brush it off, I let it be, it happened, it's fine, it's gone. And that is the difference. That is the difference between someone who is living in a negative mindset and a positive mindset. If you are putting so much focus on these small, or what you seem as big inconveniences, you're attracting more and more attention to it. You're letting your mind play over those events over and over again as you're retelling it to all these different people. Rather than telling them about the good things that are happening in your life, you're telling them about all the bad things that are happening in your life. And if you remember in my last video, I talked about the law of attraction. You paying attention to the bad things in life will only bring more bad things into your life. That is how it works. What you give out into the world, it brings back to you. Now, not only can you overshare the bad things in your life, but you can also overshare the good things in your life. Now, of course, again, it is amazing to share your achievements, but you have to remember that not everyone that you talk to is going to be happy for you. What I mean by this is, unfortunately, in the world, there is a lot of people who will prey on your downfall. They will want you to fail. Even some of the people who you deem your closest friends can get jealous, can want what you want. And in that case, you telling them constantly how much you're achieving, maybe how much money you're making, they can use that against you. That's why I say sharing is good. Oversharing is bad. And there is a very thin line between what that is. Let me give you some examples. Sharing would be you winning an award. And you say, I'm so thankful that I won this award. I put a lot of work into this. I'm really thankful that I had you all by my side. Oversharing is telling them every single part of the process you did. The bad, the good, the ugly, everything. To the point that they could actually probably do it themselves because you told them so much. Then you receive your award. You're incredibly happy. You say the exact same things to them. I'm so happy, I'm so proud of myself, I've achieved this award. But the thing is that by that point, you've told them every single day or every other day, everything you've been doing. By this, I don't mean that you don't say anything to anyone and you live a very secluded life where nobody knows what you're doing or how you're doing it. Of course not, that would be silly. But what I mean is that not everyone needs to know every single step to something or every single bad thing that's happened to you or every single journey that you've took to get to the destination you're at. Now, this is where the fear of failure comes in. If you're someone who overshares a lot of your life, you have now told everyone what you're doing. You have told everyone your plans. You have told everyone what you want to do, how you want to do it, how much money you want to make, how many friends you want to make, whatever it is. But a lot of the time, that makes people fear failing. When you have people watching you who know the process you're going through, it makes it incredibly intimidating to meet that end goal. Because now you know that if you fail, you will have to tell people that you've failed. You will have to accept the reality that you are failing in front of a crowd. This is why a lot of the people who do overshare don't end up completing what they actually want to do, because they're so scared of failing that they just don't really want to get to the end product in the first place. They put obstacles in their way to stop themselves, in turn failing. But in their head, failing before trying their hardest looks better than trying their hardest and failing. I definitely felt this. When I used to overshare about what I was doing with my businesses. In fact, everyone knew that I was trying to start my own business. Everyone knew that it had been a year, 2 years, 3 years, and my business hadn't gone anywhere. Because of this, every time I saw someone, even people who I hadn't seen in 2 years, they would come up to me and say, "How's your business going?" And I would have to tell them that it wasn't really going, that I hadn't made any sales, that I was having issues. And because of that, I became incredibly embarrassed to talk about my business. I felt it was though I was something I was ashamed of, which should never be the case. But if I hadn't overshared all about my business before I'd even got it on its feet, I wouldn't have these people to answer to. And because of all of this, I hesitated with everything that I did to do with my business. Because I had so many people to answer to, I started putting my own obstacles in my way and procrastinating over and over again to the point I did fail. I had to close down my business. I had to say goodbye to it because it wasn't working and I was spending too much money on it. But then I had to tell people that. Both ways I failed. Both ways I had to face failing. And that is why it is so incredibly important not to overshare. If I had kept that journey to myself, I would have been so much more confident, so much more self-assured in what I was doing, and I could have even made it work. Now, it might have still not have worked, and that's okay, but at least I could have seen it more as a journey for myself and to work on myself, rather than feeling like I had it shared with the world. Now that I have had time to process that and really step back and look at the bigger picture, I've been able to take accountability for all of my actions. But a lot of people really struggle with taking accountability. They blame everybody else but themselves. Now here's the harsh truth. The only person that can change things is you. So if you don't take accountability for your actions, they're nobody else's actions. If you're not taking accountability for your thoughts, they're nobody else's thoughts. If you're not recognizing that these are your own actions, your own thoughts, and it's you who's controlling them, they're never going to change. That is why it is so important, so important to take accountability of your own actions and of your own thoughts. It's not about blaming yourself. It's not bad. It's not shameful, but you need to be self-aware. If I never became aware of my actions, I would not be making these videos. I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for sitting down with myself and saying, hey, this is not okay. I can't do this anymore. I shouldn't be behaving this way. You can blame everyone else around you. You can blame your environment, you can blame your parents, you can blame your job, whatever it is. But that's not going to solve anything. If you don't start taking accountability for the way that you react to things, how you feel towards things, how you perceive the world around you, nothing will ever change. You need to take accountability first and realize there's an issue before you can target and fix that issue. For a very long time, I lived my life blind, believing that I was always right, that I could not do anything, that this was just the way life was. But that's not the case. And when I woke up to that and I took accountability for myself, for my actions, for my thoughts, for my own life, that is where I could sit and figure out what I need to change and then change it. That is all from me today. I hope this video was helpful for some people. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below and I hope you enjoyed. Bye!